Item number 10 is basic carbohydrates and or beans and lentils. Basically, people tell me that I'm wrong about what is a carbohydrate and what is a sugar and what is a... I'm not a nutritionist. So I'm going to use the word that I was taught at school when things were much simpler. We were taught about staple foodstuffs, and that included beans. The Mexicans lived on beans or live on beans. It's very, very much a staple foodstuff. It would include yams in West Africa. Even cassava is a staple foodstuff. In northern Natal, one of the great staple foods is madumbis, kind of like a potato, not a sweet potato, something completely different. Sweet potatoes, rice, pasta, oats, barley, wheat. We've mentioned lentils. There's something I'm trying to think of, rye, all of those. For very obvious reasons. I hardly need to go into them. Staple foodstuffs are vitally necessary for the energy, the conversion to sugar, for the energy on which your body runs. They might not be the most nutritional things. They might not have vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. They might not have all of the roughage that we're told about and the this and the that and the next thing. Potassium and who knows what all. But they are staple foodstuffs because for thousands of years, societies have depended on those for the bulk of their diet to keep them going, even if they don't have a meat-rich diet or a diet that is rich in vegetables, for example. Talk about staple foodstuffs. Guys, we're going to talk about item number 11 on our recommended is not the right word, on our guideline list of items for hoarding, if you're able to do so, if you have the means to do so, and we all have the means to hoard some of the small things that have been mentioned here. Come on. A bag of salt at 3 Rand, I bought one the other day, 2 Rand 99. Anybody can hoard salt. So we're trying to stimulate people's thinking about items that they can hoard, particularly people who have contacted us and wanted some advice. So this is not the perfect list, but it might just stimulate your thinking, and item number 11 is going to surprise you. I bet you not one single person guesses it. Socks. Think about it. In a time when we are adjusting to not having access to commercially produced goods, before we harvest the first shearings from the Angora goats and sheep in the region that we occupy, and before we figure out a way to card that wool and to make yarn, we're going to be dependent, as we will with so many other things, completely on what we've brought with us. And all of us think about jackets and shirts and pants. I think that everybody thinks about underpants. And socks is one of those things that people forget. And I can prove it to you. According to Oxfam, people donate, not to be crass, but bras, panties, and underpants more readily than socks. Can you imagine? Second-hand underwear. You wouldn't think so. So, socks is clearly something that scientifically we are inclined to forget, and we're going to need them, and we're not going to be riding lifts and escalators. We're going to be driving in cars very much less. We're going to be walking a lot more on foot. Therefore, we are going to go through socks out of all proportion to our other clothes. Fact. Bet you didn't know that, nor did I until I until I read about it, and it really stimulated my thinking. Hopefully, we've stimulated yours today too. Thanks, guys. Cheerio.